Hi everyone. So my final project was to propose a TYA performance collaboration between Moco Arts, where I work, and our local college, Keene State College, for us to produce a performance in the spring, March-ish of 2027. I'm going to reference my notes over here so I don't miss anything. We propose to do a production of SpongeBob the Musical, TYA edition, and it would be a partnership between a Theater for Young Audiences class at Keene State that currently does not exist, but is something I am proposing outside of this class to create. And they would do all of the educational materials and research to put together the ed packets and the lobby displays and any interactive elements. And Moco would be the hosting facility in terms of rehearsals and production team and crew and elements like that, unless there were Keene State students who wanted to come in and do technical assistance or marketing or anything else that is needed for the show, or acting, of course. And so this partnership, I went through and kind of assessed what roles the different organizations would play. Moco is taking on the majority of it, since it would be a project that I would hopefully be directing for my exit project, maybe next year. We'll see. The reason why I chose to have it actually be housed at Moco as opposed to Keene State, since I work at both of those organizations, is because our facility is actually completely empty during the day. We don't have any classes until 3:45-ish in the afternoon, save for like one young arts class we have during the daytime. So we actually have a full empty building during the day, where we could have rehearsals for a show, and we could even have productions. So the show would take place, and we would start in the first year at the 4 local elementary schools. That's about 1,000 students, so we would need to do about 12 performances for the capacity of our facility to accommodate the students and all of the educators that would need to come with them each time. It'd be something we provide free for the schools. They would have to provide their own busing, and we don't have any public options for the performance yet, but it's something that would be in our future plans. So sort of the background of what I did in this process, I'm used to the budgeting for our shows, as I produce at least 10 shows a year. And I kind of know what we need in terms of marketing support. So I was able to pull those pieces of information really easily. And what I think was important for me in the process was to learn the why. So in New Hampshire, according to TYA USA, we don't actually have any Theater for Young Audiences organizations. And I'm part of the New Hampshire Theater Alliance, and I asked around on the folks in our Slack channel, and there's one organization up in Winnipesaukee that's about an hour and a half northeast of us, and they do Theater for Young Audiences with this educational component to it, and do the outreach for the schools, like we learned with Eric and with some of the other guest speakers that we've had. But there's a lot of organizations in New Hampshire that do theater with youth and theater by youth, and that those pieces of theater are educational in nature for both the youth and the audiences, but they're not doing intentional school outreach and programming and teacher support. And their target audiences are primarily the families as opposed to the teachers. And so there's a really big opportunity gap in New Hampshire, and in particular in our region. There are some theaters in Vermont that do a little bit more of this work, but if you're ever been to New Hampshire or Vermont, you know it's a real big struggle to get across that border, and so we have 4 school districts within a 20 to 30 minute driving distance just from where our location is, and so it'd be a really big opportunity. And I guess one of the things that's the biggest takeaway for me in doing this process, other than having this like pretty extensive 20 some odd page proposal for a performance that I could be potentially doing and proposing to my senior staff team in next month, is that in talking with people on my team, I kind of assumed that it would actually be a really hard sell, mainly because we're facing so many budget issues with the New Hampshire State Council on the Arts being defunded. But there is actually a lot more interest, and we've already started thinking about how we could frame our current shows as TYA opportunities and how we can market it in that way. So we're doing Peter Pan Jr. and our ticket sales were at like 50% until we switched tactics and marketed it towards kids and as a show for kids, and now we're almost sold out. So just that reframing and the buy-in from our community has been really important. And I think in doing this process, I was a little overzealous of what we would do. Realistically, one of the things I put is if I were going to go back through this process again and actually propose it, we probably would start with maybe 4th and 5th grade instead of just doing the entire school, so we can be a little bit more targeted and strategic with our educational packets that we're doing. So that was 7 minutes. I'm sorry, but that was my project, and hope you have questions.